Hello everyone, welcome back to my video. This is Harshvardhan from IIT Bhubaneswar. In the Python series, today we are going to discuss about the input statement. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about input statement in detail. Generally, what is meant by input? Input is nothing but that what the user need to give to the programming language as an input. Okay. For that, we need to write some syntax in the programming language. We will see what is the syntax now. The syntax is very simple. Just write input and close brackets. Or do one thing, write an input in the quotes, write something and end with quotes. Okay. Now we will see the practical implementation in the Jupyter book, how it can be done. Now, suppose I will assign a variable a equals to input. If I process it, it is asking some value. So I will give 10 and I have entered. So if I now use the print statement, yesterday we have studied PRA and print. So here I will type print of A. So it is showing as 10. If you see carefully and clearly, for the input I have given as a input 10. So if I ask the system to print, it is giving as a 10. We will see another example. Okay, in the same manner, we'll see the another example. If I type b equals to input, it will ask some value. So if I given 20 and if I process and if I ask print b, it will show 20. It means the what is the value that is taken by the b, it will be reflected for b. So here it is happening that we are having 20 in B. And we can also find the address of the B. For address, what we will find? We will find ID, ID of B. So the ID of B is the last three digit is 952. So it is stored in the address of 952 and something. It was stored in this address. Okay. Hope you understand the combination how we can now use the ID, print, input in a combination. But for this case, everything is okay. But there is one thing that you need to remember. Everything is okay, but here directly taking without asking anything. Now I will give some prompt in input. Now we will see what will happen at the result. So A equals to input value of A is. Now I will process it. Now it will show the prompt here. So you can clearly see. First, I have given in the quotes the value of A is. It is reflected here and from here it will ask my A value. So I can enter the A value here. So I am entering the A value as a 10 and I press enter. So if you need to see the A value, you write as print A value is, comma, A. So now you got the value of A as 10. From here you can clearly see the value of A is 10. Hope you understand how it can be done. But one thing that you need to see, if I type the type of the value, and one thing that you know, the 10 is an integer. But if you type of A, it is string. Okay. So type of A is string. So you can't do an arithmetic operations like a plus 2. Further, if you run the a plus 2, it will give an error to you. Why? Because a is the value that you have given as a. We are having a as a string value. You are adding a 2 with a string. So you are adding an integer with a string. So it cannot conjugate it and it is showing in the result of a error. So now we will see how we can eliminate this error by using a input function. Okay. Now we will see some discussion. So input can be taken in the three forms generally. Okay. The first form, by default, now we have seen the input is taken as a string. In order to convert our string into integer, place an int function before input. In order to convert as a float, place a float function before the input function. If you don't know the input that you are taking, now you use the evaluate function. So evaluate function will automatically consider the input or the type based on the input given by the user. Now we will see these three in a detail. Now I will do as, suppose value 1 equals to, okay, so for our understanding, marks equal to int input enter marks. So if I process it, it is taking income one. Okay? So bracket is now. If I ask, it is taking as enter marks. So I have entered 25 as my marks. Okay. Now you can see the type of marks. It is integer. So if I remove this integer, it will be considered. If I remove this integer, it will be considered as a string. By placing of this integer, it is considered as an integer. Okay. Now you can see whether if I do not place integer, what will happen. I mean copying, pasting here. I will remove this part. Now if I process and if I enter 25 and okay, so cell is executing. So it is processed, and if I ask the type of marks, it is giving us a string. You can clearly see the difference that if you place an integer here, if you place an integer keyword here, so it is considering as a int. If you don't place an integer here, it is considering as a string. So you can clearly see it is considered as a string. Okay, now I will rub this. Okay, now, so now I can do like this as, so I can write as, now I will execute the statements like salary. Salary equals to int input, my salary is, now I will execute it. So it is showing incomplete input. I need to add some bracket. Yes. So I will add salary as 50,000. I will enter. So if I ask now the system to present my salary or to print my salary, I will write as print my salary is, and where it is stored in the word of salary. So salary. So it is showing as my salary equals to 50,000. You can clearly see it is showing your salary as a 50,000. Okay. Now, instead of in, now I need to use the float value. How I can use? So, but the same thing I will use. Salary equals to float of input of my salary is, so it is asking. So I will give as 50 1000.34. Okay. So now you can clearly see this type of salary. It will be float. Why? Because I have used an here the float. So I have given a float value. It is considered as a float value. Okay, hope you understand how this is happening in detail. Now you can clearly see. Now I will ask my system to print my salary. Print my salary is, so it has printed my salary as 550,000.34. Okay, now I don't know the type of input that I am giving. So how I can consider my input based upon without default value of string. If I give 10, it should taken as a integer. If I given 10.0, it should be taken as float. If I given name, it should be considered as a string. So how I can take, how the system automatically can do it by using eval function. Now we will see the eval function in much more detail. So here eval function. So now we will see how I can take it. So I will take as suppose marks. Marks equal to eval input. My marks are, if I process and give my marks as a 10. So now I will ask the type of my marks. If I give the type, so type of the marks as integer. So it is considered the type of a mark as an integer. Because you have given integer, so the type has become integer. Okay, so that you need to understand. Now I will give marks equal to eval input. My marks are. If I process, and here I will give my marks as 25.45, and I process. Now I will ask the marks type. If I process, wonderful, it is showing as a float. So here the type is int because I have given 10 as my marks. So 10 is an integer, it has considered as an integer. Here I have given 25.45 as a float value. So the type of mark is a float. Now, if you use the eval function for the string, you will get some mysterious output. Now, let us have a look on it. Name equal to eval input and I have processed it. So, it is asking my name. If I given my name, it will show an error because the evaluate function, you need to remember that evaluate function, it is very important. It will consider only int and float values. It won't consider the string value because the string value is a default value. It will consider int and float, but it won't consider string because there is no need to consider a string because our name is actually taken as a string. So now we will see how our name is actually taken without using eval with normal function. Suppose name equals to input. My name is, if I process it will give, if I type Harsha, it was taken. So if I ask my print statement to give my name, print, my name is name, it has given, clearly it has given as a, my name is Harsha. So now hopefully you understand how the print statement and how input statement works and I have given the maximum number of possible errors that you encounter while using the input statement. Okay, so hopefully you like my video. If you really like my video, please like it, share among your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.